Ford will sell you this F-150 Lobo with a Whipple supercharger and 700 horsepower. The mats are carpet made to match the carpet underneath, and visually that makes complete sense. The carpet's job is to absorb, and that works fine until the moment you put a muddy boot on it. This episode is a paid partnership with OEDRO, who sent a set of their all-weather mats made specifically for this cab, and I haven't put them in yet. What I want to know is what they hold, how they work, and what they cost next to everything else. No cutting, no tools, driver's side first because it's the only one with pedals above it. It drops onto the factory retention posts exactly like it's meant to. Driver's mat, start to finish, one take, 25 seconds. Passenger side is the same job with less furniture in the way. The rear is the only one that takes any thought, and the whole truck is done inside 3 minutes. Now watch the front edge. A footwell is not a flat pan. It climbs the firewall toward the pedals and it runs out the sill on the outboard side, and the mat is doing both of those at the same time. Nothing bridging, nothing riding up, no gaps. Watch the coverage under the accelerator. Owners were pointing at that long before I got here. Coverage carries on behind the pedals, which is where most mats give up because nobody checks back there on a test drive. That's the whole install. There's an instruction sheet in the box. I found it afterwards. Nobody wipes their feet before they get in a truck. Coffee, mud, whatever the dirt lot came home with. It stays on the mat and off the carpet, which is the entire job. It isn't a bucket. A bucket full of meltwater is a bucket you have to lift out and carry, and it sloshes the whole way out the door. Everything that came off those soles is sitting on top of the mat instead of in the carpet. You don't clean this up. You deal with it later, somewhere else. On carpet, that's a stain you live with until you sell the truck, and then it's somebody else's stain. The mat that came out of this truck is carpet. Carpet gets vacuumed, and when vacuuming stops working, it gets shampooed, and when that stops working, you buy another one. This one gets a hose. It folds up easily to come out. A rigid liner won't, which means the trip from the door to the driveway keeps half the mess in the truck. No bucket, you're not kneeling on wet concrete either. A couple of passes with some water, done. No soap, it goes back in the way it came out, and the footwell is the same footwell it was this morning. It doesn't need a brush and it doesn't need chemicals. This is the whole maintenance procedure. Carpet doesn't get this. Carpet just gets a wet vacuum and a lot of optimism. If you want to see more episodes like this, hit subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Wet rubber meeting a wet boot is where most surfaces stop cooperating. Wet, the boot still grips, and that's the surface pattern doing the work. It doesn't move. I've shifted heavier things by accident. This is the one with the factory clips, and those posts are the difference between a floor mat and a floor mat that finds its way under the brake pedal. Manufacturers have recalled vehicles over exactly that. Edge curl is the single most common complaint about floor liners for this truck. Rolled tight, held, released, and it goes back to flat on its own with no memory of having been bent in the first place. A mat that takes a set is a mat that stands proud somewhere, and a mat that stands proud is a mat that lets water get underneath it onto the carpet you were trying to protect in the first place. OEDRO calls this material military grade. I'm not sure what that means, and I don't think anybody at the Pentagon was consulted. What I can tell you is it's a lot thicker than the mat that came out of this truck. An OEDRO set for this cab, both rows, is $129.99. WeatherTech, same truck, both rows, $211.90. Husky Exact Contour, $219.99. Ford Zone All-Weather Liners, $240. Those are the listed prices the day I shot this, and they're on screen with the date. I'm not going to tell you the expensive ones are bad because I haven't fitted them to this truck, and neither has anyone else who's telling you about floor mats this week. The code is BRM20. It works on OEDRO's site, not on Amazon. So the Amazon link also in the description. Buys convenience at full retail, which is a very Amazon-like arrangement. Nobody thinks of a floor mat as a consumable until they're buying a second set. Yes, Ford put carpet mats in a 700 horsepower pickup, and in the showroom, they're undefeated because showrooms have excellent weather. Then somebody buys the truck and uses it. What this set of mats had to prove to me was pretty specific. They fit a cab that they were scanned for, and they keep what a boot brings in off the carpet. And their price holds up nicely next to the alternatives. Use code BRM20 for 20% off on OEDRO's site. Links are at the top of the description.